Hi, good morning, everyone. This is the open day session for the Department of Architecture of UCT, and we're very excited to have everybody here today. We as staff and students have come together to try and share some stories about the school and what it's like to learn to become an architect, as well as what it means to work as an architect. So over the next 30 minutes, we'll see a couple of slides with everyone here. We are aware that many of you that are in attendance have more than likely done your own research and gone onto our website to check out some of the wonderful and great things that we are doing as a school, and in particularly how we try and make an impact in the world around us through working in communities and just being aware of what is going on around us. And architecture has been an incredible tool for us to be able to make that change. And we hope that the next couple of minutes will be inspiring for all of you to possibly make that decision to join the school. And obviously, if you are successful enough to get in, it'll be great to have you in the school. We will be starting quite soon by asking our HOD, Professor Odendaal, to just give a brief welcome. If she is here, if she can just switch on her video. And if she is not here, I'm going to ask Dr. Timbaweni, who is the undergraduate convener for the School of Architecture, to briefly speak to you about what the program is like.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Clint, is Professor Odendaal here? Don't think she is. All right, my name is Philippa Tumubwene. I'm the undergraduate, which is the BAS program convener, which means I oversee the first, second, and third year, which is the undergraduate program. I am also the convener of 2 courses in first year, which is technology and representation. So what I'm going to do briefly in the next minute and a half is talk to you about an overview of what the undergraduate program does. At UCT, the undergraduate program is continually growing, and what we've done is start to create specializations in the different year. So in the first year, you'll be picking up skills, foundational skills that are supposed to help you on your journey as you become a professional architect. In the second year, Clint, who takes technology in the second year, and Professor Balanda, who takes the design, then gets you to work in real life situations where you contribute to build projects in and around Cape Town, and you actually start to build and make things. And then in the third year, we open that up even more, and we have our students participate in international competitions. They then do a major project to simulate the architectural profession. So what you realize is that we start with foundational skills. We then give you some kind of practical engagement with architecture, and then we allow for you to imagine creatively in the third year with the skills that you have picked up in the first 2 years. So I'm quite excited to see you guys next year. Please do apply, and it's always very good to see kind of what we're going to be getting next year. Thank you very much, Clint.
Thank you, Philippa. Also, just a reminder, if you have any questions during the session, you're welcome to put those questions in the chat room, and at the end of the session, when we will have that 15-minute Q&A session, we will do our best to answer those questions. We also just want to give a special welcome to learners from I think the community of Kailicha, who's with Buchle today. So it's really great to have you guys here. I'm going to give over to Janine to share her screen, who will speak to us about the admission process. Thank you, Janine.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name's Janine, and I'm the departmental manager for the School of Architecture, Planning and Geomatics. And today I'm going to be talking to you about admission for the program. So the application process, the application itself requires it's twofold. So it requires a UCT application, which is done online, and it also requires you to submit a portfolio, which is a required drawing exercise. and then just what you need in terms of the academic requirements. The minimum academic requirement to apply is 50% for maths and 50% for English. And then the minimum faculty point score to apply is 348. The minimum portfolio score, this is all for application, is 50%. And then for the BAS applications, NBT tests are not required for 2023 admissions. But if you have a second choice application that is not within the engineering faculty, you must do the NBT tests. They will require those results. So just bear that in mind when you're making your applications. How to make your application? You apply online. The link here we will put in the chat, just so that you can get a sense of where to find the application forms. Part of the application requires you to also just follow the undergraduate prospectus, because that gives you lots of information of the program, how to apply, and what's required. When you make the application, use EB012 as the degree code. That will show the university that you're actually applying for the BAS program. You also need to submit certified copies of your academic results, and then make sure that when you're doing your online application, there's a list of checks that you need to do. Make sure that you tick everything that's on that checklist, and then at the end of your application, you must click the submit button. If you don't click the submit button, it means your application is sitting in limbo and it's not gone through to UCT, which means we can't actually then consider the application itself. The closing date for the UCT application is the 31st of July this year, and they're not accepting any late applications either. The portfolio itself, this is a compulsory component for the BAS application. And again, I've got some links here that I would have loved to show you, but what I'll do is I'll put them in the chat as well, in terms of where to find the portfolio, what the portfolio itself consists of. But we've got some detailed information on the web as well to give you some insight. Yeah, so the portfolio itself, yes, it's a compulsory component. The required drawing exercise, there are 6 tasks that you must do, and then you can also submit supplementary work. Now, the supplementary work is optional. It's those 6 exercises that are compulsory that need to form part of the portfolio itself. The portfolio, again, needs to be submitted digitally in one PDF format, and it needs to be sent to the administrator, and her details are on the screen, but they'll also be in the application when you look for the portfolio information. There's 2 closing dates for the portfolio itself. So if you manage to get your portfolio done early, you can submit for the 31st of July, which is also the date for the application, the UCT application. Then the final submission date for the portfolio is the 31st of September. And again, note, no late submissions will be considered. I've also got a list of frequently asked questions that will assist you, just to give you some more insight to the program, more insight to the application, that if we don't manage to answer all your questions here today, you can go to that website and find that information. Thanks, Clint.
Thank you, everyone. So as mentioned before, I'm in the second year of teaching, the second year technology and design course in the school. So I'll just briefly take you through some of the work that we've done together with Erin Lefleur. But just before that, I think it's also important that you can also go and check out our website, which Janine has alluded to, and you can find that on the link apg.uct.ac.za/apg/open day. And here you can also get to see some of our projects that we've done and the series of exhibitions that has been conducted by the school, by the different years of study. Also, what is I think a very useful platform that you guys can go to as well is the CIFA website, which is the Cape Institute for Architecture, and you can go to the student portal, and the link there is just students.cifa.org.za, and the slide you're seeing now is really just the homepage, and this particular portal allows you to explore how you learn architecture and and what the discipline is like. On this website, you also are able to see the different study paths. So you being here obviously means you're interested in doing it via the university route, but there are also ways of enrolling into universities of technology, and this is just a slide that shows you the different parts of how to eventually become a professional architect. On the website, there's also a series of stories and virtual tours. So if you go onto it, you can get to explore the inside of an architectural office to sort of see what it is, what the working environment is like. And then just some testimonies by architects that are currently practicing, and what they've sort of had to go through during their learning process, and what the benefits are of being an architect. Also, just bear in mind that you are welcome to send some questions to Nanette Pickover and Janine Meyer, who's here with us today. And so these are just the email addresses. And then just to give you a bit of insight as to what it's like to be a student, I'm going to give over to Erin just to speak to the next couple of slides. Erin.
Thanks so much, Clint. Greetings, everyone. My name is Erin Lafleur, and I'm an architecture student in my third year studying at UCT. Please just excuse me, I can't seem to turn on my camera, but hopefully my voice will be enough for right now. So I will essentially be speaking through this theatre ceiling design project that we had the opportunity to work on in our second year. So in our second year technology course, we were tasked to redesign the ceiling of the Gugu Sithebe Theatre in Langa, as there had been a fire that had caused quite a bit of damage. So the point of this project was really to come up with ideas and designs that could, at the end of the project, actually be built and installed into the theatre. So not just designing and working through the project in class, but physically testing it out, building prototypes and models of the design to scale, and really focusing on imagining the impact that the design would have within the theatre itself and within the community of Langa. You can go to the next slide, thanks. So we began working on our designs in the architecture studios and received lectures within our course to help us develop and deepen our explorations. Being able to work in studio and see what the other groups were coming up with was always so helpful, as designing collaboratively and working with one another is really how we're able to get the best results. We continuously received feedback from our lecturers and tutors so we could find out what elements of the designs we were working, what needed to be worked on further, and what elements were really working so we could progress our designs further. From that point, some of the group's projects were taken forward to continue to be developed and actually be taken to the theatre, as you can see in the image there, so we could see what everything looked like within the space. This prototyping phase was a really important step, as it allowed us to look for different materials and actually test how much the design itself would cost to be put together. This step also allowed us to visit the site and physically see the dimensions that we had only been seeing before in drawings and in photographs, which gave us a lot of insight into things that we hadn't necessarily been thinking about before, and allowed us to continue to develop the design in more specific detail. From that point, our group made the final drawing as to what the design would ultimately look like within the space, and we were able to see the whole project be put together and installed into the theatre space, as you can see in that next image. Before I came to UCT, I didn't think that we would get this kind of opportunity to work on a project where we could actually see the impact that our work would have on the people who we were designing for. It was a really valuable experience to collaborate with so many different people and to go through all of the steps in this design process to eventually see the design being made and installed. We were able to learn so much through the making of this design, and we're really grateful to have been able to have this opportunity to be a part of this process and to work with all these different people in making it happen together. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. That's our brief presentation for the architecture department. You are welcome to post your questions in the, I take it, Laz, we will be using the Q&A function to do that. And between myself, Philippa, Janine, and Erin, we will answer those questions within the Q&A tab.
Hey there. So here's a question here for the portfolio. Do you do it when you have been accepted, or does one have to do it with the application? So just to reiterate, the portfolio and the UCT application go together. So you need to do both at the same time. As mentioned, the application deadline is the 31st of July, and then the deadline for the submission of the portfolio is the 31st of July, and the final deadline is the 31st of September. We cannot consider the application unless both components have been submitted. Thanks.
There's a question here. Do you need to take art as a subject to apply for an architectural degree? The answer is no. There's another question. My daughter is better at physics and maths than art and drawing. Will that be a disadvantage? The answer is no.
Just to reiterate on that question, physics is not a requirement for this program. The courses that we consider are maths and English.
Thank you, Janine. Just to make sure, the closing date for the portfolio is 21st of September. Janine, can you confirm that?
Correct. That is the final closing date.
There's another question. Do you need to study BAS if you want to become an urban planner? There are various ways you can get into the urban design program. The BAS is one of them. In my opinion, I think it's one of the best platforms to prepare you, but you could also start with a planning undergraduate degree, which you do at CPUT. But at UCT, to get into the urban design masters, the BAS is probably the best platform for you to do that. And there's a difference between urban designer and planner. We also have a planning course in the postgraduate. There's another question. How many people get accepted into the BAS? Typically, we accept between 85 to 100 people.
There's a question here about where they can view the examples of the portfolio. Janine, I think we can, students, learners can go onto the website, and there's a flip through document that actually shows you what some of these portfolios look like.
That's correct. The document, the brochure that Clint is referring to is also quite detailed because it gives you an idea of how to structure your portfolio in terms of what the committee is looking for. So please make a point of going through that brochure as well.
Thank you. There's another question. How math orientated is BAS, or is it very art design orientated? So in the BAS program, we focus on design and design skills. But you do require you're required to have mathematics in order to be able to apply. Janine, do you want to elaborate on the maths requirement?
So there are maths courses that take place that you're required to take in the BAS program. The theory of structures courses are particularly maths heavy.
Okay. Will there be more open days this year, or is this the only one? Laz, do you want to take that one?
From what I heard, there's another one coming in September. Sometime in September. That's what the VC said this morning.
Thank you, Laz. Janine, would you like to take the question about the maths entry requirement?
So the maths entry requirement is 50%. Sorry, I didn't see actually. What was the question? Was it asking what it was?
Janine, the question was asking about what types of maths.
Oh, sorry. No, it's pure maths. So we don't consider maths literacy. You need to have pure maths for the application.
Is there anything else one can study for a year and branch off to architecture the following year? I'm not sure why you want to study something else and come into architecture later, but we have had cases where students go off and study things like philosophy and other programs and come back for the BAS. You must just bear in mind that you need to have done at least 2 years in the BAS program for you to be able to qualify or to graduate in that program. So you can't come in at the end of the program and only do 1 year. You have to do a minimum of 2 years. There's another question. If you get rejected, is it possible to get reconsidered with your NSC results? Janine, do you want to take that one?
Look, the program itself is quite competitive. As Philippa said, we can only take between 85 and 100 students, but our application pool can go up to about 1,300 to 1,500 applicants every year. So it is very competitive. You can reapply the following year. You can also, if you feel strongly that your application should be reconsidered, request that the application be reconsidered.
All right, given the timing of the portfolio and students in grade 12 working to finals, can a grade 11 student prepare the portfolio this year for submission next year? That's very ambitious if you would like to start. But I would like you to bear in mind that the portfolio requirements might change next year and you would have to address those. So keep an eye on the website. If you want to test out how to do a portfolio this year and you're in grade 11, you're very welcome to try. I think that's very good planning, but keep an eye on the website because the portfolio submission might change. Another question, must our portfolio and application be submitted together? Janine, would you like to take that?
So the application gets submitted online via PeopleSoft, and the portfolio gets sent to the department. Both have the same closing dates, which is the 31st of July, but the portfolio itself has a second closing date, which is the 31st of September. So not necessarily together, but they need to you need to comply with the closing dates that each one has.
Thank you, Janine. Clint, would you like to take this one? When we take architecture, will we learn skills that we can use outside of architecture, for example, art?
The short answer is yes. I think what's really interesting about studying architecture, particularly at UCT, there is quite a strong focus on developing your critical knowledge. We obviously run a number of projects, and the processes are always sort of different to expose you guys to many ways of how to deal with the design process, and those processes vary sometimes from incorporating techniques from the art discourse, even from literature, from other social areas. I mean, I think a big one at the moment that we employ quite a lot is the idea of storytelling, and all these things are really about interdisciplinary learning. So once you are done with the undergraduate program, definitely you'll be able to apply these techniques in other areas in the industry. And art, I think it's fairly easy to do. So I think there's quite a lot of popular figures out there that has done a number of artistic work where they've actually started with architecture. Zapiro, the cartoonist, he studied at UCT. There's many things that you can go into.
There's a question, would EGD be an advantage? The short answer is no. Clint, another one. How will the studies of design contribute towards architecture?
Well, I think let me just get that question in. How does the study of design add to architecture? If you're talking about the study of design before you come to UCT, meaning doing design at high school, I think it does help to a certain extent where the idea of abstraction is a way that one can explore within the learning of architecture. And then I think what design, exploring design in the learning of architecture and in the practice of architecture is interesting, that it does allow one to explore innovative ways to address some of the very rudimentary problems that we have to face within the world. So there is a kind of normative way that you apply architecture, but to really come up with new solutions, we have to be innovative, and that's where I think the studying of design and bringing other disciplines within the learning of architecture is very useful to be able to come up with new and innovative solutions.
Thank you, Clint. Just to reiterate, Maths Lit does not count for this application. And there's a question here about, are there work opportunities in Cape Town for women in architecture? Absolutely yes. There's a lot of women in architecture. And then someone was asking about maths as a bridging course. You need to have maths to apply for this course. Mm-hmm. Someone asked, where can we find the application brochure? Once again, Clint, please share your screen. I encourage you to go to the website, to the APG website, and have a look at the portfolio requirements and what you need to be able to apply. Thank you very much, Laz. He's managed to put that as an announcement. I hope everyone can see it. Okay, Janine, do you see any questions you'd like to answer? We've got about 2 minutes left.
There was one about somebody doing bad in maths in grade 11, and would they still be considered with better matric results? Your grade 11 and your grade 12 results both need to be submitted for the application, but we will look at the matric results for that. So yes, try and do your best, do the best as best as you can in your matric results to try and make up for what happened in grade 11.
Thank you very much. Any questions you see, Clint? We have about 2 minutes and Laz is being strict with time. There's a question for you, Erin. How different was the program to your expectations, as in how was your experience in general as a first-year student? Was it overwhelming?
I would say that it was overwhelming initially, because for me personally, I actually should have done more research as to exactly what the course entailed and what it would be like to be an architecture student. But I think that after that initial shock, I mean, the course is structured in a way to, whichever point you're starting from, to develop you and to guide you through the process, so that now in my third year, I feel a lot more confident about what I'm doing. So yeah, it's all about the journey and the process to getting to this final point, essentially.
Right.
There's one question here about whether the portfolio needs to be submitted both by the 31st and then again by the 30th of September. The answer is no. Your portfolio is submitted once. If you cannot meet the deadline of the 31st of July, you have an opportunity then to submit by the September deadline. So you don't submit the portfolio twice, you only submit it once. Thanks.
Thank you. There's a question, is 85% for maths good enough? Absolutely.
Yes. Pure maths.
All right. I think we're coming to a close. If you have any more questions, please contact Nanette Pickover. Her contact details are on our website. Once again, please engage with our website. All that information is there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. We're going to be signing off.